About 180 million years ago, a massive rock started to break away from the African continent. Over time, one part drifted north and became modern-day India, while the rest stayed completely alone in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Tens of millions of years of isolation turned this place into a land unlike anywhere else on Earth. Giant baobab trees look like they were planted upside down. Stone forests rise up as sharp as millions of knife blades, and there are creatures you just cannot find anywhere else on the planet. That strangeness is not just in nature, but the local culture also leaves outsiders in awe. Take the Famadihana festival, for example, which is the custom of turning the bones and dancing with the dead. This is not just a story about baobab trees, weird creatures, or rituals that shock the world, but it is also a journey to discover the millions of people who turned this isolated territory into their home. And that is life in Madagascar, one of the strangest islands on Earth. Mornings start out really gently in the highlands of Madagascar. People step out of their mud brick houses, bring back firewood, fix their thatched roofs, or quietly work on the small fields near their homes. Little kids play along the paths, while simple stalls pop up right in front of doors. Red walls blend into the color of the dirt. Tin and thatched roofs sit close together in the dry fields. On the narrow road, zebu carts slowly pass by, carrying people and belongings from one village to another. There is no rush. There is just the sound of footsteps on the dirt, people chatting by the road, and the peaceful pace of a community that is used to letting the days go by with the farming seasons. Down by the coast, that peace continues, but to a different beat. Here, life moves with the breath of the ocean. The living space opens up endlessly toward the sea. Instead of ox carts on dirt roads, the main ride for the locals are traditional wooden boats with their signature outriggers. Under the sun and wind, the sails reach high. Some are just patched up rustic pieces of cloth, while others are painted in bright colors, gently gliding across the calm water. On the boats, men, women, and little kids travel together, gathering like a tiny living space out at sea. Out here, the lines between homes, docks, and the water seem to blur. Kids grow up with the wind and waves, and the boats coming in and out every single day. But the further south you go, that peaceful scene slowly fades away. The green drops back, giving way to hard, dry land under the endless sun. Around houses woven from branches and dry grass, people still go about their daily routines. They bring their clothes down to the riverbed to wash, then slowly scoop up every last cup of water left to take home. Madagascar does not just have one single pace of life. Each region forces people to live in a different way, but everywhere you go, they learn how to adjust their lives to whatever nature provides. On a massive island where communities are separated by red dirt roads, rivers, and long distances, getting around has never been just about going from one place to another. Every vehicle in Madagascar carries the rhythm of the land it travels through. On the red dirt roads out in the country, zebu carts still slowly roll past the fields. 2 oxen walk steadily up front, pulling a wooden cart packed with sacks, crops, supplies, and sometimes a whole family. Not fast, not loud, just the sound of wheels crunching on the dirt and the heavy footsteps of the zebu bringing people from the fields back to the village. Over in Ansirab, the streets move by human power. Hand-pulled pusi weave through the markets, train stations, and neighborhoods. The puller runs up front, hands gripping the shafts tight, taking passengers through each street with their own physical strength. Right next to them are pedicabs with a passenger seat in the back, slowly rolling through the city with the sound of bike bells and people calling out to each other by the road. Every ride on a pusipus brings the street life almost right to eye level. Passengers see stalls open up, kids walking by, and the flow of people moving just a few steps away. This is not just a way to get around. For many drivers, it is where work starts in the morning and only ends when the streets finally empty out. When they need to go further, people look for a taxi Bruce. These are small passenger vans, but they do not just carry people inside. Bags of rice, shopping baskets, suitcases, and stuff tied up on the roof all hit the road together. The van usually waits until it is mostly full before leaving the station, then slowly connects towns with markets and country villages that are hours apart. Inside a taxi Bruce, a long trip turns into a temporary living space. Stories start up over the engine noise. The view out the window shifts from highlands to farm fields, and then into stretches of dirt road that reach all the way to the horizon. But there are places where the road suddenly stops at a river. Right there, people, motorbikes, and even cars get loaded onto flat-bottomed ferries. There are no bridges overhead, just a simple floating deck, a small motor, and the water you have to cross. The ferry slowly leaves the bank, carrying both rides and people before dropping them off on the other side to keep going on their journey. The people of Madagascar are generally called Malagasy, but they do not come from a single root. On their faces, you can see traces of ancient Southeast Asia, East Africa, Arabia, and Europe. The Malagasy language belongs to the Austronesian language family, like a leftover memory from ancient ocean voyages. From the Marina Highlands to the waters of the Vezo people, every community brings its own unique identity. The youth look toward the modern world, while the elders hold on to the memories and wisdom of the island. Malagasy culture does not just sit around in museums. It shows up in how a community lives together every single day. The people of Madagascar call that spirit Famadihana, which is the bond between family, relatives, and neighbors. When someone hits a rough patch, the whole community has a duty to stand by them. Because here, a single person is rarely seen completely separate from the people around them. That connection even stretches out to those who have passed away. Ancestors still hold an important spot in spiritual life, and family tombs are seen as the thread tying the present to the past. In some highland communities, that is shown through Famadihana. Relatives come back, the old burial shrouds are swapped for new ones, music plays, and generations gather around the memories of their ancestors. To an outsider, that ritual might be shocking, but for the families who practice it, this is a reunion between the living and the dead. Life in Madagascar is also guided by fadi, which are taboos tied to a specific place, family line, animal, or behavior. Every region has its own fadi, like invisible boundaries passed down through many generations. Music, singing, and dancing show up at weddings, family rituals, and village festivals. Zebu are not just a common animal either, but they also show up in ceremonies, as status symbols, and on big community occasions. In Madagascar, culture is not just remembered. It is lived, sung out loud, and passed down from one generation to the next. Isolated in the Indian Ocean for tens of millions of years, Madagascar turned into a massive natural lab. While life in other places kept mixing together, the species on this island evolved on their own path, adapting to forests, mountains, and lands that do not exist anywhere else. That weirdness is most obvious out west. Giant baobab trees reach up in the middle of wide-open red dirt. Their trunks bulge out, and their branches twist up into the sky, making them look like they were planted upside down in the dirt. Some of these trees have been standing here for centuries. The avenue of the baobabs today is just the leftover piece of a forest that used to be way bigger, like the last witnesses of a world that faded away. But the baobabs are just the first door. Out in the forests, lemurs show up in all sorts of different shapes. Ring-tailed lemurs lay out in the sun on the rocks. Sifakas bounce across the ground with sideways jumps, looking like they are doing a dance. The Indri calls out loudly through the forest canopy, while the eye only comes out when darkness covers the tree trunks. With big eyes and long fingers that are pretty much just bone, the eye taps on the bark, listens for hollow spots, and pulls grubs out of the wood. In the dark, it looks more like a forest spirit than a normal animal. Deeper out, west is Chingi-Dibimaraha. Right here, the ground shoots up into millions of sharp limestone spikes. Some stone towers are dozens of meters tall, packed tight together, making a stone forest that goes all the way to the horizon. Looking down from above, the landscape looks like the earth cracked open to show its stone teeth underneath. Between the sharp peaks are deep cracks, caves, and rope bridges hanging over thin air. There is no softness of a forest here, just rock, shadows, and a maze that is almost alien. Leaving Chingi, the scenery changes again. Down in Isalo, massive blocks of sandstone rise up like ancient castles. Wind and water have worn them down into canyons, stone windows, and shapes that are almost too perfect to be natural. Further down south, Andringitra opens up with steep granite peaks, clouds rolling along the mountain sides, and green valleys sitting deep down below. The east of Madagascar is covered in rainforests. The air is thick and humid. The light only peeks through in tiny streaks. The sounds of birds, bugs, and lemurs ring out from different levels of the forest. This is also the world of chameleons. Some are almost as big as a small cat. Some are barely bigger than a fingertip. Their two eyes can look in two different directions, and their tongues shoot out so fast that human eyes can barely catch it. Hiding deep in the canopy is the fossa, the biggest predator in Madagascar. It moves silently through the branches, chasing lemurs with the precision of a ghost. On an island with no lions or big leopards, evolution created the fossa to hold the spot of the top predator. The further down south you go, the green slowly pulls back. The rainforest gives way to spiny forests and semi-arid lands. The plants store water in their trunks, grow full of thorns, and reach up in twisted shapes. The whole landscape looks like a garden grown on a planet with no water. Then, at the edge of the island, the land gives way to the ocean. Under the clear water are colorful coral reefs, where fish, sea turtles, and tons of tiny creatures hide among the branches of living rock. Offshore, little islands are scattered across the turquoise water. Every year, humpback whales cross thousands of kilometers from the cold southern waters to head back to the warm waters around Madagascar. They come here to give birth, raise their calves, and keep up a journey that has repeated over countless generations. If you want to understand the economy of Madagascar, you first have to leave the small avenues of Antananarivo and look towards the fields stretching across the highlands, because for most rural families, a workday still starts on the dirt, where rice is planted in watered valleys. Cassava, corn, and potatoes are grown on the drier spots, and every patch of dirt around the house is used for veggies, livestock, and whatever else can help the family make it to the next season. Most farming households do not own huge fields, but work on small plots of land that have been split up through many generations, keeping a part of the harvest to use at home and then taking the rest to the market, because around here, a whole family's economy sometimes just fits into a few baskets of veggies, a bag of rice, some chickens, or a bundle of firewood set out by the road since early morning. But from those villages that seem so cut off, Madagascar still sends out vanilla, cloves, coffee, cocoa, pepper, and lychee to the world, products that connect the growers out in the middle of nowhere to seaports and markets thousands of kilometers away. Vanilla is pollinated, picked, and processed almost entirely by hand, but its final value is decided in places really far from the fields, meaning a good season can bring hope, while a year of price drops or damaged crops can shrink a whole family's income in just a few weeks. Out on the grasslands, zebu are a kind of living asset. They pull plows, pull carts, carry crops, and build up value over time, because for a lot of families, a herd of zebu does not just help with the work, but is also a backup fund they can sell when they need cash, an asset saved up for their kids, and the clearest proof of their years of hard work. Down on the coast, land gives way to water, and the ocean becomes the workplace. Wooden boats leave the shore early in the morning to fish, catch octopus, or gather seafood, and when the boats come back, the sandy beach turns into a spot for sorting, dividing, and trading, while in some communities, seaweed is slowly becoming an extra source of income next to traditional fishing. Meanwhile, in Antananarivo, the economic pace has a different face, more crowded, faster, and pretty much leaving zero empty space going to waste. A wooden table can turn into a shop, a corner of the sidewalk can turn into a bike repair spot, and a tiny room can be both a home and a workshop. People work in transport, construction, admin, services, or informal jobs just enough to keep the family going day by day. Tourism also makes jobs for guides, drivers, guest house owners, and people selling handmade crafts, while minerals and gems open up another source of income in some areas. Because of that, Madagascar's economy always exists between two worlds. One side is the precious goods brought into the global trade chain, and the other side is millions of families still growing, catching, and hustling on their own little patches of dirt, not to get rich, but just to keep their roof standing strong. After a workday, the pace of life goes back to the kitchen, where rice takes the center spot in most meals and is usually eaten with a side dish generally called laoka, which can be greens, beans, fish, meat, tomatoes, onions, or whatever ingredients the family has around that day. Up in the highlands, romazava is slow-cooked with meat and leafy greens. Ravitoto is made from crushed cassava leaves, cooked down for a long time until it is soft and flavorful, sometimes mixed with zebu meat and then eaten with rice. By the coast, fish and seafood show up more, maybe grilled right over the charcoal, fried or cooked up with veggies, while in the areas where it is hard to grow rice, cassava, corn, and potatoes become the backup base. Around the markets and busy bus routes, donuts bubble in small oil pans, meat skewers smoke up by the sidewalk, and rice, fruit, and fried foods are sold to drivers, workers, and passengers who are still on their way. These foods are not fancy, but they are fast, hot, and enough to keep a person walking through the rest of the day. In a lot of families, after the rice is cooked, the burnt crust at the bottom of the pot is filled with water and boiled again into a drink with a light scent of roasted rice, a simple habit that shows how Malagasy people use everything they have in the kitchen and turn normal ingredients into a familiar part of life. Meals change from the highlands down to the coast, from the dry south to the crowded neighborhoods of the capital. But even if the ingredients are different, the moment of eating still brings everyone back to the exact same place, around a pot, a portion of rice, and the stories told when the workday is over. In Madagascar, food does not just carry the taste of veggies, meat, or fish. It also carries the traces of the fields, the ocean, the seasons, and the hands that have been working since before the sun came up. But life in Madagascar always comes with limits that outsiders can only fully feel when they get off the main roads. On a map, a village might not be too far from town, but in real life, that trip can take hours because a lot of routes are just red dirt, dusty when it is dry, and turning into deep mud when the rain hits, making wheels sink in and practically stopping the whole trip. There are places where the road ends right at a river, where people, goods, and sometimes even cars have to be loaded onto wooden ferries to get to the other side and keep going on a different ride. A trip to the market might take a bunch of transfers. A sick person might have to travel really far just to get to a clinic, and a kid could lose most of their morning just getting to school. Around here, distance does not just slow life down, but it also makes education, healthcare, and basic services a lot harder to reach. Water is another limit. In plenty of communities, The water source is not right next to the house, forcing people to carry jugs, buckets or basins to go get it, and then split that amount of water for drinking, cooking, washing, and taking care of the animals. Down south, long droughts can turn riverbeds to sand, leaving just a few muddy puddles scattered around, where every cup of water is scooped up slowly, like a job that simply cannot wait. Electricity is not a given in a lot of places either. When the sun goes down, a house might only have light from a tiny lamp or the cooking fire, making studying harder, keeping food fresh tougher, and meaning cell phones have to be taken far away just to charge up. And in those communities, darkness is not just a time of day, but a real limit on learning, working, and connecting. The weather creates totally opposite challenges on the same island. The east usually gets hit by storms and heavy rain. Just one night can blow roofs off, destroy fields, wash away bridges, and cut off roads, while the south faces droughts, failed crops, vanishing grass, and weak livestock. One side has way too much water, the other side has almost none, and people have to adjust their entire lives between those two extremes. Because of that, income is barely ever steady. Farmers count on the rain and crop prices, fishermen count on the wind and fish stocks, sellers count on foot traffic, and vanilla farmers can be hit by market changes happening halfway across the world. A storm, a blocked road, or a season of price drops can turn a whole year of hard work into a time of scraping by. Shrinking forests mean dirt washes away easier, while the fish supply in some coastal areas is dropping, forcing people to go out further or figure out other ways to make a living. But it is not a simple puzzle, because families living near the forest still need firewood to cook, need dirt to farm, and need the sea to feed themselves. For young people, the biggest struggle sometimes does not come from nature, but from the future. Staying in the village can mean fewer chances, but leaving means stepping into a pricey, crowded city with no job guarantees. So, a lot of people are stuck between two tough choices. One side is their familiar hometown, and the other is a huge world that might not even have a spot for them. So between the rough roads, dry seasons, storms, and limited chances, what keeps people around? The answer is not in some huge project or a promise about the future, but in the small yet solid relationships that have lifted life up from one generation to the next. Families in Madagascar usually branch out through grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and folks living close together in the same community, making a network where little kids are looked after, roofs get fixed, harvests get finished, and food gets shared when a family hits a rough patch. So, leaving town is not just about leaving a house, but also about leaving the whole support system that has wrapped around a person since they were born. The land also keeps people here, because a little farming plot might not bring in a lot of money, but it holds the memories of multiple generations, from the dirt borders packed by hand to the path leading to the waterhole, and the planting seasons that have repeated over time. People know which spots hold water longer, which plants can handle dry dirt, which wind means rain is coming, and fishermen know the watercolor, wave direction, and the exact time to head back. That know-how does not come from books, but from living long enough with the exact same piece of land. The ancestors belong here too. Family tombs, the name of a hill, a road, or a village all connect the living to the generations that passed away, making their hometown not just a place to live, but a piece of their own history. In a small community, people know each other's families. They know who is struggling, and they know which kid needs to be kept an eye on. Life might lack material things, but it definitely does not lack the feeling of being seen and belonging. The city still has its pull, especially for young people wanting to study, find work, and see a bigger world. But leaving the village does not automatically bring an easier life, because jobs can be sketchy, housing is cramped, and the distance from family just gets bigger. Some leave and stay away, while others come back with new skills, joining co-ops, growing community tourism, planting seaweed, or doing their part to protect the forests and oceans. They do not stick around just to suffer through it. They stay because they believe their hometown can still change, that the things handed down from their ancestors can still survive alongside new chances, and that sticking with a place sometimes does not mean accepting all its limits, but choosing to help turn that place into a better home for the next generation. Madagascar is usually remembered for those baobab trees that look planted upside down, lemurs jumping sideways across the dirt, and stone forests sharp as millions of knife blades. But the deepest weirdness of this island is not just in nature, but in how people turned an isolated piece of land into a place where they can live, work, raise kids, and keep on hoping. They into a lifeline, turn ox carts, wooden boats, and dirt roads into the threads that connect their community, and then turn family into a safety net strong enough to help each other get through the hard times. Life in Madagascar is not the same between the highlands, the coast, and the dry south. But everywhere you go, people learn to adjust their days to the dirt, the water, and the seasons, while holding on to the things that tell them exactly where they belong. On the strangest island on Earth, life has never been easy. But for the Malagasy people, Madagascar is not just a place where they have to survive. This is where their family lives, where their ancestors rest, where their memories begin, and where the next generations can still call home.